All right, Rich, I get asked this all the time. What do I need to do to get my home in 10 out of 10 condition?
Yeah. So in walking through literally thousands of properties, 10 out of 10 condition for me would be all of the things that are going to create pause for a buyer. Yep. And that would be, are there holes in the walls? Is the paint like freshened up, or is it faded by the sun? You actually mentioned a really good one, and kind of your trigger is unique, and I'll let you share that. But
I always look at the base trim. If the base trim is messy, dinged up, dirty, full of dog hair, and I can tell how well that house has been taken care of generally. If you can tell if they've done lipstick on the house, like cleaned it up, painted, done really quick, and left the trim on, it's usually a dead giveaway that there's probably some maintenance or some things like that need to be done. But like the base trim is a huge indicator for me.
Yeah. So if, I have 2 dogs, and if they end up finding the trim, before I sell my home, I'd just replace that piece of trim. I mean, MBF trim is a very, very like low investment in the grand scheme of things to make it look really nice. Paint is a pretty low investment to make it look really nice. Neutral paint, just say not purples and things like that. Yeah. And pay attention to, like take a little bit of time to tape off and mask where you're going to paint. Like, both myself and my buyers, like we'll look at the quality of the paint job and whether or not that's a reflection of how well you've taken care of the home. It's still a reflection that creates pause for a buyer. So straight lines on the paint, replace damaged trim, shampoo and clean up carpets would also be condition items. You mentioned, tightening doorknobs and hinges, just making sure like the doors close properly as well. Like that's a big one that I've run into. What else have you seen?
Yeah, I see a lot of that. Like keep in mind, they're doing these things to keep the buyer from thinking they're going to have to do it after they move in. If you don't do a good job here, you're going to have done the work, but the buyer's still going to think, oh man, I got to repaint this still. So the biggest thing is like we walk through our houses every day, and there are little things that we have learned to just overlook as we go through them that a buyer is going to be noticing the first time they walk through. So when I walk up to a house, a lot of times, that front door, if you have a metal front door or something, it's all worn around the handle from your keys and all that kind of stuff, kicked on the bottom. Get that painted nice and neat, clean the concrete, just like stand out front, walk in, pretend you're there for the first time, and go through that. Every little blemish and anything that you have control over, then I would work on it. If you want to be a 10 out of 10 seller and condition your home in this market, then loose door handles, like he's saying, all that good stuff. And then, and then just get it done as much as you can.
Yep. And it's super important. If you want to protect your price and you want to make a good first impression, we're not talking about upgrades. We're talking about little things that, could potentially take a day or two, maybe a weekend, and that don't cost you a lot of money out of pocket to make a really, really good first impression. And in our market right now, where there's not a lot to choose from, and rates are high, like being conditioned well matters.
Yep. And the number one thing, I don't think we've touched on it, if it smells, it won't sell. So like work on the smell. Like if you maybe have a hard time, we live in our houses, we don't always smell what we smell like, unfortunately, but like have someone come through, ask them true feedback. If you have an agent come through that politely tells you that your house smells, like take it as good feedback. They're trying to help you sell your house.
Yeah. Could save you tens of thousands.
Correct.
For sure. So